Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Marshall Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I will be covering the Gear and Goods Chapter 3 of Deadlands, the second printing for Savage Worlds Adventure Edition. I often don't cover the gear for tabletop role playing games because it is often just very generic, and you go across the board, and a long sword is a long sword, and a battle axe is a battle axe, and so on and so forth. However, since it is fairly rare for me to actually cover a Western RPG, or in this case, a weird Western RPG, and since these items are, not just weapons and not just traveling aids, or horses and ponies and wagons and that kind of thing, but they actually have some a significant impact on the type of character that you're portraying, and there's a difference between a gunslinger who is carrying a regular six shooter, and one that's utilizing a Gatling gun or a Gatling pistol, or a sort of double barreled shotgun and whatnot. So there are many differences here that you don't necessarily see in fantasy based tabletop role playing games. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time actually talking about the gear and goods system of Deadlands. So, without further ado, I'm going to shift and talk about both. I am going to switch views here real briefly. So, I am utilizing the Deadlands. This is from the box set, which was a brilliant buy on my part. Really, really happy with this product and the way that the way that it's packaged, and all of the really great things that it has inside it. I am going to be running this game system at conventions, not this very next convention in January, but by April I will have written an adventure, and I'm going to do a separate video on just the process that I'm using for that. But I'm definitely going to be running this system at conventions, and it's going to be part of my rotation for the second half of 2025, and probably into 2026 before I shift to a different system and replace it, unless it's super popular, and then I'll continue running it and probably write another adventure for subsequent 2026 and into 2027 convention cycles. So definitely a system that I'm really, really interested in doing a full dive into. Now, this is of course utilizing the Savage World Adventure Edition of the game system. So I'm really impressed with this as well. Both as a player, I've played in it now a couple of times, and this will be my first foray into actually running it. So, without further ado, I am going to jump right into the gear and goods section. So as you can see, I used this image for the thumbnail. I also like that about these books, is that before each chapter there is a full page color, art that really does capture, I think, what the chapter is all about, and they make great thumbnails. So here we go with gear and goods. And like I said, I normally don't focus on this, but for this game system, I certainly want to. So, a well-oiled six-gun in the holster, a Winchester, the gun that won the West, a reliable horse, and a sturdy saddle. These are a few of the necessities, but all sorts of things are for sale in the Weird West. The trick isn't finding someone to sell them, it's finding an honest shopkeeper. All right? This chapter holds an assortment of items a cowpoke needs to get by, whether by the skin of his teeth or in luxurious style. As we told you in the last chapter, your hero starts the game with $250 in local currency. Anything you want in the way of possessions you're going to have to buy. We know that money won't go far, so in Deadlands you have two options when going shopping. You can pay the price listed in the chapter, or you can hunt down a bargain by buying El Cheapo gear. And so I'm really going to focus on this in the beginning. Most anything in this chapter except services can be bought secondhand for half the list price. Common items such as clothes are ratty and torn, hats are crumbled, and dinged up playing cards can't be used anywhere except for at the campfire. These effects are usually situational, which means some items cause bigger problems than others at the marshal's discretion. All right, the marshal is the term for the game master in Deadlands. El Cheapo gear cost. El Cheapo gear cost half the normal price, but a cowpoke only receives a discount on types of gear described below. Breakage. Cheap guns, saddles, and so forth, anything a cowpoke might use in a trait roll, break if the player rolls a critical failure. And El Cheapo tomahawk falls apart while you're trying to whack some no good rascal, or a second-hand wagon loses a wheel. If your cowpoke has the all thumbs hindrance, the breakage is spectacular enough to stun the user. Powered items explode, the cinch on the saddle snaps like thunder, and so on. Persuasion penalties. Items that don't come into play for skill rolls might affect the folks' perception of your hero. A ratty duster, for example, is a sure sign of a no-good skullflaw or saddle tramp in civilized company. Even in the most remote corners of the West, each of these items inflicts a -1 modifier to your hombre's persuasion rolls, but the maximum penalty for El Cheapo gear is -2. El Cheapo horses. Skinflint characters who cheap out on horseflesh are in for a whole different brand of trouble. El Cheapo horses, in addition to their normal statistics, have two minor hindrances or a major hindrance of the marshal's choice. That's right, partner. You could wind up with an elderly nag, a stubborn mare, or a mean stallion full of piss and vinegar. I struggle with their words sometimes. The dialect of the writing here. You pays your money or not, and you takes your chances. Marshal, we know how much you want to punish your players for being misers, but use common sense here. Horses don't make the kind of enemies that call them out for a duel at high noon, and they are about as likely to be outlaws as Johnny Ringo is to join a sewing circle. That said, an ornery horse might hate a particular Appaloosa in the posse, or an outlaw horse might have been stolen and had its brand altered. Selling goods. Posses, which is character groups, often wind up with the spare gear. Everyday items are easy enough to sell or trade, but only a sucker pays full price for used items. A successful persuasion roll in a fair-sized town allows the seller to dump the goods at a quarter their normal value, while a raise nets half the list price. This roll may be attempted once per week on a trail or every 2 to 3 days in a boomtown. Unloading more unusual or dangerous gear, guns, blades, and gold bullion, for example, can be tricky. Attempting to sell more than a couple such items is liable to catch the attention of suspicious law dogs. Characters in the market to sell ill-gotten goods probably want to avoid this outcome. So here you have some common gear. So boots and chaps. Chaps notes, heavy leather, seatless trousers to protect the rider's pants and legs. They grant armor +1 and so on. Duster, which is like those long jackets. Long johns. Native armor. Buckskins basically. Native shield, medium. Native shield, small. Skirt, blouse, or dress. Shirt, blouse, or work. That was shirt, sorry. Silk stockings, shoes, and so on and so forth. So fairly basic stuff here. So food and drink, you have 15 cents for a pound of bacon, 25 cents for a pound of coffee. Talk about really cheap prices here. A restaurant good will have breakfast for 50 cents, lunch for 25 cents, and dinner for $1. Restaurant cheap, any meal, 25 cents. Trail rations per day is 50 cents. General equipment. So here we have a long list of general equipment. Cameras. Special note on cameras here that these are those big box cameras. All right, so nothing easy to carry around. You can see their weight is 5. A cheap one costs $3. The regular cost is $3. A cheap one, which would probably have a good chance of malfunctioning, would be like $1.50, let's say, or $2. And one photograph per photographic plate. Each plate cost $1. So they're expensive to operate and own. Going on through, we have a variety of other items, fairly common items, right? So these are just general equipment. Then we have fundaments, ghost rock, ore, it's 1 ounce, but most commonly sold at $100 per pound. All right, so it's normally sold per pound, and I will get into further detail what ghost rock is. Gold ore, $20 an ounce. Compare it to today as well. And silver is $1.50 per ounce. Gun accessories, so you have belts and holsters and quick draw holsters, which cost quite a bit. $11 for a quick draw, which I think is a real good purchase item for you to get if you're a pistolier of any kind. A rifle boot, a scope, a shotgun thong, speed loader cylinders, hats. You have a number of different hats. Liquor, triple or more for the good stuff. So here you have beer, you have a shot, you have a bottle. Services and transportation. So a horse, an average horse is going to cost you $1.50. A mule, $50. Riverboat per mile, 5 cents per mile. A saddle, $25. Saddle bags, $5. Stagecoach per mile, 10 cents. Train ticket per mile is 5 cents. Ammunition, so you have your various types of ammunition here, from arrows, pistol small, pistol large, rifle small, rifle large, percussion caps, shot with powder. This is for black powder weapons and shotgun shells, standard buckshot. Melee weapons, so from brass knuckles to bayonets to clubs, war clubs, knives, sabers, spears, tomahawks, whips, ghost steel weapons. Any metallic weapon can be custom forged from ghost steel to make it for more sharp and durable, but it's prohibitively expensive. A ghost steel weapon adds +1 to damage, gains AP1, or adds +1 to existing AP, increases hardness by 5, and costs 5 times the listed price. Gatling guns. So you have a Gatling gun, that's a pistol, a Gatling carbine, a Gatling rifle, and a Gatling shotgun. So really pretty interesting kinds of weapons that you have here. Then you have the true Gatling gun. The original 6-barrel Gatling gun is mounted on a small carriage or pintle mount. This negates the recoil penalties, but also restricts the arc of fire depending on how it is mounted. Ranged weapons, so these are from small to pepper boxes, so derringers to Wesson dagger pistols. Then we have revolvers, single action revolvers. We have double action revolvers. Then we go to carbines. We continue with additional carbines. Shotguns, all 12 gauge. Other ranged weapons such as bolos and bows and knives and bowie knives if you're throwing them. A lance for the Plains Indians. A spear, a tomahawk, and a war club. Explosives. Explosive accessories. Vehicles and conveyances. Water vehicles. Now, infernal devices. So infernal devices are products of the new science and all use ghost rock in some way. Potions and elixirs require powdered ghost rock as a reagent. Weapons and armor are made with ghost steel plates or shavings, and the vehicles or powered devices use it for fuel. Of course, they're called infernal for a reason. The price of progress is that the infernal devices are subject to malfunctions. All right, and so there is a long list of malfunctions from catastrophic to major to minor. All right, you're rolling a d6 and you're hoping you roll high. Buying infernal devices, again, they cost quite a bit. So Hellstrom Industries, Smith and Robards, and scores of other local inventors have showrooms or licensed sales outlets scattered across the West. Customers also have orders delivered to their doorstep. This takes 2 to 6 days via train or post if it is an item and small enough. Payment must be made in advance at a bank or sales outlet which wires the factory to confirm orders. Rush orders can also be placed from Hellstrom Industries or Smith Robards in a pinch. The cost is an extra $100 via horse and rider or wagon and takes as long as it takes to navigate the route under the current environmental circumstances. Steam wagons and velocipedes take about half the time in general with reasonably good roads or flat terrain, but cost $250 in delivery charges. In a real emergency, SNR or HI can dispatch an autogyro for $1,000. Air delivery takes D 4 hours and must be within 50 miles of a city. Refined ghost rock. Vehicles and devices that use ghost rock run on refined and shaped fuel cores which burn hotter than raw ore. The process requires a factory with a smelter, stamp, and other large engines and produces a cylinder of ghost rock that weighs 1 pound and costs $150. Most vehicles and devices can use unrefined ghost rock, but this reduces their maximum range or duration by half. Common infernal devices. You have hat periscopes, you have noiseless shoes, you have owl eye goggles, you have spring boots, you have vapor masks, elixirs and toxin doses, you have adrenaline booster, you have hydrated air tablets, You have increased greased lightning pill. Sorry. You have healed unguents, liquor courage, restoration elixirs, tactile desensitizers. Sorry. The drink ignores up to 2 points of wound penalties for 10 minutes. All right. You have vocal unction elixir. You have various miscellaneous items, devices such as diving suits, electrostatic belts, epitaph camera, mechanical mules, powered demoler. A clockwork demoler develops for a lawn care inspiration. This powered repurposed device, which is crucial for areas plagued by troublesome and deadly swarms of lesser vermin. Okay. Rattler detectors. Then we have armor, right? So ballistic protection. Items marked with the asterisk reduce the damage from bullets by 2. Ballistic protection in this era is 2 rather than 4 of more modern equipment, such as listed in the Savage Worlds core rulebook. And so you have a variety of different types of armor that you can also purchase. Additional weapons, you have flamethrowers, you have a steam saw, you have a steam Gatlin. No, it's actually Gatling, sorry. Vehicles, rail runner, a luxury enclosed cabin with rail wheels adjustable to any gauge track. I'm going to assume this thing is like really, really heavy though. It can go 40 miles per 1 pound of ghost rock fuel core on land or 80 miles on rails. All right, so you can utilize it. Costs $2,500. The crew is 1+7. Fairly large, size 4. Handling -1. Doesn't handle well. And there are a number of other things. A velocipede is a 2-wheeled cycle, travels 75 miles per 1 pound ghost rock fuel core, 50% chance any uncalled shot hits the character instead. Costs $1,000. Water vehicles, air vehicles. All right, that will be very interesting. So $5,000 cost for those things, and a small airship that can hold up to 2,500 pounds of passengers and cargo, travels 25 miles per 1 pound of ghost rock fuel core. And there we have a quick run through of some of the gear and goods in Deadlands, the second printing for Savage Worlds Adventure Edition. And, you know, like I said, these items are fairly unique in, you know, for this kind of a game setting. And it really is going to change the way that you play your character just simply by the choice of what type of gear you end up purchasing for yourself. And, you know, really looking forward to seeing, you know, what decisions my players make when purchasing their items, whether they decide to go on the cheap and take on some of those additional hindrances, especially when they're buying, you know, their mounts or their conveyances, their travel equipment. So that'll be really interesting and probably a lot of fun too, to throw those kind of you know, unexpected hindrances at the players if they do buy a lot of cheap gear and everything. It's been my experience when players have unexpected mishaps that they tend to be, you know, one of the funnier moments in a gaming session, and we all get a good laugh from it. And you know, even when the results are catastrophic and they lead to even a character death, you know, I've seen and experienced a lot of players that just have a ball with it, and they really enjoy that kind of random but rare catastrophic failure that takes place. So very, very interesting section. I'm glad I spent some time on this. I hope you enjoyed this, and be on the lookout for more content on this channel for Deadlands second printing, the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition, and come April is my first planned rollout of an adventure I'll be working on in the next couple of days and within the next 2 weeks or so, and getting that ready to actually to test it out and then to run it. I have run the adventure I'm going to be working on using DCC's Weird Frontiers, and so I'm kind of converting that over and then to Deadlands, and then tweaking it to make it even better functioning. Even though the other version worked really well at a convention, I want to make this one because I think the game system is going to move much smoother. I got to flesh this particular adventure out, so I'm looking forward to doing that. And again, I'm going to be doing a video real soon, within the next couple of days, talking specifically about that adventure and the work that I'm going, I'm putting into getting it ready to go for convention play. So, as always, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for stopping in. If you hadn't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Hit the alert button or the alert bell so that you'll get alerts when new content is dropped on the channel. And as always, I look forward to seeing you on the gaming screen or at a convention table sometime soon. Next convention I'm going to is Philadelphia Area Game Expo. Really looking forward to that. Virtually all of my games are booked with the exception of my Gangbusters BX game, which is the last time I'm running that particular adventure. And then it's going to be cycled out. It's been quite a number of years that I've been running that adventure that I had written. And so January will be the last opportunity you'll have to actually play in it. So thanks all for joining. You have a great rest of your day.